Hi, I'm Gary White for Central Kentucky Television. I'm here with Dana Parrott at the Nelson County Extension Office, and we're kicking off 2015 by making slow cooker bean soup.
That's right. This is kind of the time of year, it's cold outside, and so a lot of people use their slow cookers. Even though you can use them all year, but this is really the time of year that people think about it, and everybody likes soup when it's cold, right?
Right,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. So this is a soup that's, it's just really easy to do. It doesn't take a lot of ingredients, and it especially doesn't take any ingredients that are unusual or expensive, so my favorite kind of things.
Absolutely. So a slow cooker, commonly some people know as like a crock
Pot, yeah.
right? But that's
we're
actually
really bad about
right?
we're really bad about calling things by their brand name, but a crock pot is what most people know about.
So a slow cooker, what's the premise?
A premise is just that you can put something in it in the morning and leave it all day, and it'll be cooked when you get home. So it's kind of the greatest invention ever, almost.
And it's safe to leave on while you're away.
And that's what I hear a lot, is a lot of people don't like to use their slow cookers because they're afraid of leaving something all day. But every slow cooker that's on the market has been tested. I mean, that's what it's made for. It's what it's designed for. This is, porcelain. This is something that's not, it's ceramic. It's not going to, break or anything like that. And it's removable most of the time. They're made to last, and they're going to be tested. So that's what it's for. It's okay to leave it.
Okay.
So.
Great. All right, so let's get started with our bean soup.
All right. One thing that a lot of people don't know about your slow cookers too is that you can preheat them, because the point of a slow cooker, you put the top on and the water vapor, creates that steam, and that's what cooks your food. And so you want it to be as hot as possible from the get-go. It's only going to help your food. So I went ahead and put some of the liquid that the recipe called for in and turned it on, and that way it's already hot, and that way it's getting a full 8 hours of cook time. Because it does take a lot to heat up, because it is a slow cooker. So you can you can preheat your slow cooker. Just make sure you have some sort of liquid in there when you turn it on. So I have a little bit of the chicken broth in there already. It calls for 9 cups. I've already got 5 cups in there, and we'll add the rest in a minute. You're going to use 16 ounces of beans. I just got the mixed bean variety. If you like navy beans or great, northern beans, something like that, use whatever kind of bean you want. But I just did the mixed variety. So 16 ounces of that. It's about 2 1/4 cups if you are going to measure that way. Then I used it's 2 cups of carrots. It calls for 4 medium. I actually used 5 medium, and that made my 2 cups. But I like my carrot chunks to be big, because in soups I really like to see my carrot chunks. So 2 cups of carrots, 1.5 cups of celery. It was about 3 stalks of celery there. My hands are clean, I promise. This is like an Italian seasoning blend. You can use a teaspoon of Italian seasoning if you want, but you can also use 1/2 teaspoon of oregano, 1/2 teaspoon of basil, and 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder, and that kind of creates our own Italian seasoning. And then there's also 1/2 teaspoon of pepper in here. Now, if you use unsalted chicken broth, you can also add 1/2 teaspoon of salt.
Okay.
But ours is reduced sodium, so I didn't add the salt.
Okay.
Because anytime you can cut sodium out of a recipe, that's a good thing. Then you're going to use 2 tablespoons of tomato paste. Not tomato sauce or anything like that. That's another thing that sometimes people don't realize that there's a difference, and the can will clearly say it. But we're going to use 2 tablespoons of that. Tomato paste is just quite a bit thicker. So put that in there. And then we're going to add the rest of our chicken broth here. Now, the other thing about the slow cooker is I know a lot of people who take the lid off and stir. You're not supposed to do that. Anytime you take the lid off your slow cooker, you are letting the degrees go down 10 to 15 degrees, and you're going to need to add 30 minutes to your cook time, which is quite a bit, when you're already cooking 8 hours or something like that. So the point of a slow cooker is to put the lid on and to leave it alone. So you may want to stir it before if that's something that you want to do, if you just feel better about that, but you don't have to. Another thing with this is that you can add an onion if you want. I don't like onions, so I left it out. But you could chop up 1 large onion and put it in here too. If you wanted it to be a vegetarian dish, you could use vegetable broth. And like I said, the Italian seasoning is the other option if you don't have one of the 3 spices that we used. So we're going to put that on, and we're going to leave it for 8 hours on low. And then 15 minutes before we're ready to eat, we're going to add these petite diced tomatoes. And then we're good to go.
Okay, and you want to make sure you don't cover up the little hole on top.
Yeah, that's something that they didn't used to have. There's a little vent here that we're talking about. They didn't used to have that on a lot of slow cookers, but people were so nervous about them that they did add those, and they do help. So something that's there for safety.
There for safety.
Yep.
Now, When you say with a slow cooker, is there one temperature? Like when you turn it on, or when?
Well, most cookers, every slow cooker cooks at the same temperature. No, it doesn't matter if it's a 4-quart, 6-quart, 8-quart. Low cooks at 200 degrees, which is what we're cooking this on for 8 hours, and high cooks at 300 degrees. And so that's something a lot of people too, if it cooks, for 8 hours on low, they try to cook it for 4 hours on high, but it's not exactly a half conversion. So remember that. You can find conversion charts online, or you can call your extension office, but you can convert most recipes to whatever, a shorter time if you need it to. But low cooks on 200 degrees and high cooks on 300.
So they want to speed up their slow cooking.
Yeah. Yep. We are still a little bit of an impatient people, so.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if you want a copy of this recipe or some other recipes with slow cookers, you can contact the extension office.
Definitely.
Correct. Now, also, as we said, we're kicking off 2015, which means we have a new food and nutrition calendar as well.
We do. This recipe is from an old food nutrition calendar, but we did get the new ones in. I love the recipes that are in this one. They're really different, really new, and I think they're going to be really good. So we have a ton of them at the office, and every office has them.
Yeah, cool. And it has a different recipe for each of the months. So you can try something different. You can also learn about all the nutritional aspects of all these different things.
Yeah. It's got
fish in the foil.
I just think it's the best thing because it has a way to make it a meal. With this, it talks about add cornbread and oranges and milk. It makes the grocery list for you. It gives you a little idea on how to exercise that month. And then in the back, there's actually some financial management information, some goals here you can have. There's some measurements and substitutions. It's just a really handy calendar.
Cool.
I think.
And you can get a copy of this at any of the extension offices. 2015 Food and Nutrition Calendar.
That's correct.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Again, I've been talking with Dana Parrott, and get your copy of the slow cooker bean soup recipe by contacting Dana here or one of the agents in Marion or Washington County as well.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
It's been Gary White for Central Kentucky Television.